So let me ask by a show of hands, how many of you guys know what a Sherpa is? Who knows what a Sherpa is? Great, so about half of you. And who knows what the cloud is? All right, hopefully everybody at this point, right? So when we named the company when I named the company back in 2008, the word cloud was not really as ubiquitous as it is today. It was before iCloud, it was before Apple. Cloud was still something that IT guys would draw on a whiteboard really to depict the internet. They'd say, well, my data's over here in this data center and it's going to go across the cloud to this next data center. But in 2007, even earlier than that, in the IT industry, we started to hear software as a service and applications as a service and infrastructure as a service. And this concept of utility computing was clearly the future. And so I had read an article about how to name a company. I just told the story to somebody in the back of the room. And the article had said, you want to think about a name that's going to describe sort of what you do and then how you do it. And so the word cloud, again, was something that I latched onto. And then I was looking for another word that was going to help describe the journey it was going to take businesses from getting from point A to point B. Right, for 30 years, there's been an IT industry led by IBM and Microsoft and Cisco and all these huge companies, EMC, you name them. And they used to sell on-premise hardware to IT guys who would build these massive data centers in their companies. And this concept of cloud is really disruptive. It's about taking all that infrastructure and now, just like some of you may have heard me say this recently on TV, but just like the way that at the turn of the last century, manufacturing companies all had power plants right next to their facilities. That's why you saw manufacturing plants next to rivers and so forth even earlier. And then one day someone came knocking from the electric company and said, plug into my grid and just get this as a service. Right? So that's the concept of cloud. But making that transition from point A to point B was going to be really tough for companies. And Sherpas are the native people in Nepal that help the adventurers navigate this very difficult terrain and get from the bottom to the top. And so that's where the name Cloud Sherpas comes from, Cloud Sherpas. So let me tell you a little bit about where the idea came from. And I'm sorry that the slides aren't showing up as well, but this is actually a slide that I used when I first pitched this company to a friend. You're laying awake, you have an idea, you're not quite sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea, you don't know who to take it to. So I put together a slide deck, that was what I knew how to do, and started showing this to friends of mine to see if they thought I was crazy or not. And I said, guys, there's a couple of truths that I see happening in the market. All right, I'm going to bounce around, guys, I'm a marketer, so a little scatterbrained. But as a marketer, at least if I don't have a multi-million-dollar budget, I can't really move markets, but I can observe markets. And you want to be where the market's moving. And so what I saw happening as a marketer was this move to cloud. And that to me was the next big thing. The other thing that I saw happening was the industry that I had been in, the IT channel. Let me explain who knows what the IT channel is? Probably not a lot of people. Distribution channel. So for 30 years, right, these data centers have been being built. IBM, Microsoft, Cisco would sell their products through a network of partners. And those partners helped companies implement that technology. And about 2/3 of the market would be sold through this channel. Only about 1/3 of the market was direct. And so with these two truths, everything was moving to the cloud and businesses rely on a channel. That's where the idea came from, right? The idea behind Cloud Sherpas is that we are now enabling companies. We are the new channel for the cloud. In 2008, I got together with 2 other guys from a company I was working at, and we started Cloud Sherpas. And this is a picture of us in our office on our first day. We had just exited my basement after a couple months in there, and it was through some connections in the Atlanta area that we got wind of some space in Buckhead. It was a building that was mostly dark. The 3rd floor had no tenants on it. There probably hadn't been anybody on that floor for a good 15, 20 years, actually. The place looked pretty dingy. But we came in and said, we can make this work. What you can almost make out there was one of my partners laying out every business card that he had in his business card collection, trying to figure out who he was going to call first. What we knew we wanted to do was be this channel for cloud computing. We didn't know really how we were going to get there. The technology we have as consumers, for the first time in history in the mid-2000s, the consumer technology outpaced enterprise technology. And so that was a big part of the genesis of the idea. I was trying to sell Lotus Notes to enterprises, and I had a better email system at home with Gmail. And so we said maybe Google would be interested in us trying to sell Google apps to businesses. And so when we got together on this first day, again, we're trying to think of what are we going to do first? Who are we going to call? I said, let's start to focus on this idea around Google. You can't find a phone number for Google. There's no 800 number Google, but this technology is really something. So it took an awful lot of digging and investigating and trying to get to the right people. As the story goes, again, I'm scatterbrained, as the story goes here, we could not find a phone number for somebody to call at Google to pitch them our idea of wanting to be their reseller and system integrator. But what I did find online was a lawsuit. I found records of a lawsuit from another partner who was trying to work with Google, and something went sour, and so they were suing some folks at Google, and it named people in the partner program. So I at least now had a name of somebody to contact, right? And so we, after many, many months, hammered away, found contact information, got a hold of these people at Google, and we said, hey, we are Cloud Sherpas. We're here to be your next generation IT channel. And they just kind of laughed, it took an awful lot of convincing, and they finally said to us after many, many months, okay, we've got this one company, and we sold them 200 licenses of Google Apps, and they hate it. They want to return it, and they want their money back. See what you can do to fix it. And so they sent us in there, and we saved the day. We took this company who couldn't figure out how to use it and couldn't figure out how to route mail and do groups and whatnot, and we turned it around, and Google said, that's great, here's another one. And here's another one. And by the end of 2008, we probably had 2 or 3 of our first deals done with Google. And people talk about what does it take to be successful. A very big piece of it is timing. And if today we had the exact same team and the exact same resources, but started the company today, there's no way we could achieve what we achieved. Really because of the timing. Being part of that first reseller class gave us the opportunity for that first mover advantage. Anybody taking an entrepreneurship class, I'm sure that's a phrase you guys have heard, first mover advantage. That has proven out to be absolutely a key element of our success. And now we also have leadership positions in each of the ecosystems. So we also won the 2012 Partner of the Year, so we're the 2-time Google Partner of the Year. One of the industry analysts in the space, Forrester, just recently listed Cloud Sherpas in their Wave report. Analysts have their own way of speaking to the market. And in that Wave report, Cloud Sherpas was listed as one of the go-to partners for Salesforce, and we're probably the #1 ServiceNow partner as well. A general philosophy from Cloud Sherpas, and then I'll tell you specifically in my department. So today I am lucky enough to run marketing for Cloud Sherpas worldwide, and I'm having the time of my life doing it. Not only is it it's the company I founded, but I love marketing. That's really what I love to do best. So I'll give you an answer to both. So first, I think we really look for 3 things in candidates. When I'm sitting across from somebody on the interview, at an interview, the first thing I'm looking for is, can we have a conversation? Is it not awkward? Is everybody relaxed? We cool? Because we're going to be working together, right? We're going to be spending hours and hours together. We're going to be spending more time with each other than you will with the significant others in your lives, right? And so, does this work? And if this doesn't work, I'll cut an interview short really quickly. Second thing I look for, are you smart? Right? Are you saying intelligent things? Because we could be bros, but you could have it could be empty between the ears. So is there something of substance in the conversation? And the third and final thing is the acumen in the space. Are you passionate about technology? If you're coming to work in our services group, do you have a customer service mentality. If you're coming to work in our sales team, are you a hunter? All right? If you're coming to work in our marketing team, some might say, are you creative? I might say, are you analytics driven? There's lots of different things we look for. On my marketing team, and I was just talking to the marketing professor here, and forgive me, I do not remember your name, Miriam. I was just talking to Miriam, and I was asking about, how much of a focus on B2B marketing is there at the college versus traditional B2C, business to consumer marketing. When I got my MBA at Emory, the marketing curriculum was all focused on B2C. It imagined, I think, that every student was going to be a brand manager at P&G or hopefully at Coke or at Home Depot or whatever, selling TP, from whatever paper company. And I was interested in technology. I was a B2B guy. And I didn't find that the curriculum really prepared me very well. And also, in the last 5 years, no knock on Emory, please. But in the last 5 years, the B2B technology marketing or B2B marketing space has changed dramatically. Dramatically. It used to be as a marketer, right, as a business-to-business services marketer, you'd do activities and you'd hope that the phone rings and hope that the leads come in. And there was no way of connecting your activity to results. And so today in marketing, it is quite scientific. That's why I'm sometimes not just looking for the creative type, but I'm really looking for the analytical type. Who's going to be data-driven in the marketing department? That's what we need. We need data analytics in marketing. Today we're able to send an email out, and this may be old hat, and maybe you guys do or don't know this, I don't know, but we're able to send an email out to an organic list that we've created, right? See somebody click on an email, see them go to a landing page, see them download a white paper. Downloading a white paper does not mean that they're ready to speak to our salespeople, as much as our salespeople might want to pick up the phone and call them, right? So as soon as they download that white paper, the drip starts. 3 days later, they get an automatic email. Did you like that white paper? We have a case study we want you to see. 7 days after that, they get another email. If any activity gets taken between the first email and the second email, they get pulled out and they go to the inside sales team. And the inside sales team gets a task in their list and they have to make a phone call. And there's now mechanics and systems that you can build out. So somebody asked me a little bit about my background. I studied biology as an undergrad. Nothing to do with technology, nothing to do with business, but I really loved, I guess, systems. And what we're doing today in marketing and what we're building, the programs that we're building, in marketing truly are very complex systems. So finally, to come back to your question, one of the things that I look for specifically is somebody who's going to be data-driven, analytics-driven, and I do look for at least some experience with marketing automation tools. I think there's a whole new, there's a whole crop of technology that has just come up in these last few years that is so exciting.